The Bears.
Because of the way they play the nickel corner here, and the nickel corner plays 88, 85% of the snaps. He's got to be like part linebacker.
The Bears.
When you're in a scouting room, there's going to be differences of opinion.
The Bears.
Well, you're looking at traits, and remember when he tested very, very well.
The Bears.
Greg, why are teams wrong on quarterback evaluation so often?
Number one, it's a hard position to evaluate.
Former Bears scouting director Greg Gabriel talks football live every week on the Barroom Network. Also available on demand.
Look, I think it's a good time to be a Chicago Bears fan. There's a lot to be excited about. But let me tell you something. We are past the point of excuses. If things go sour, you have used up all of the patience that Chicago has to offer.
The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Here we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. You already know it's done by Barflies for Barflies and all the other Bears fans out there. What's up, Tooch? My man Tooch is in here today. Our guy KB is going to the game. He's going to hopefully pop in a little bit later at the Tailgate Live. We'll bring him to you. And our man C-Dub is off this week. He's helping his mother with something, so we'll handle that as we get to it. Hey, man, I don't know about you, but I was watching a little bit of the Panthers and Giants before I came on live, and the Panthers were actually moving the ball. It was something wild to see. I don't know, but, yeah, I mean, we're here for the Bears. They coming off back-to-back losses. They're back home. They, a place where they hold the, I believe, NFL leading longest home win streak. Yep. They just can't get it done on the road. But back at home now, how was your week, Tooch? What's going on?
Not bad. The election's over, but at least we still have the Bears to kick around. The Bears are home. They haven't been home in a long time. We had 2 road games before that. They were in London. So almost a month before Soldier Field saw another game. Bears are very injured, especially along the offensive line. Looks like we get Kyler Gordon back today. That's good news. A lot of offensive linemen out, man. They're looking for bodies.
We're down to offensive tackle 4 and 5, I believe, at this point. It's just crazy. I know. I thought I kept listening to 670 The Score and ESPN 1000 through the week, hoping to hear a good update for any of our offensive tackles, but it just seemed to get worse and worse. They even said Braxton Jones came back on Wednesday or Thursday, participated limited, and then the next day was ruled out.
Couldn't do it.
I don't know what's going on with Darnell Wright. Karan Amagaji is looking like a wasted draft pick at this point in the third round. Maybe he might end up back on IR. I guess you got Larry Borum, who has a little bit of experience there, but it didn't look good last week. I guess
Jake Curran was the other guy, or
they pulled him up, but I'm wondering.
Didn't he play? He got like flattened in the Cardinals game, right?
He got literally picked up and walked back into Caleb Williams' lap.
He got run over by a truck. It looked like.
Yeah. Which is
it's not looking good.
Yeah. Cornelius Squall says Bryce Young is looking pretty good. Yeah, when you invest in your offensive line the way Carolina has, he got to sit and learn for a little bit. I think he learned something from Andy Dalton. I don't know. I like to think he did. But that defensive line for the Giants is about all they've got between Brian Burns and is Thibodeau injured, I believe. So maybe not as much.
I think he's out. They have a lot of issues on defense, but the offense, there's some players that they've invested in, like you said, on the offensive line. But man, Germany ain't exactly getting the best of our games.
Yeah. We made the joke on my other show that's kind of the final penance for World War II is they have to watch the Giants and the Panthers.
I mean, the good news is that the Patriots are really banged up too. They may be a little bit better off on their offensive line, but their secondary is starting like their fourth or fifth safety. So hopefully we can take advantage of the Patriots' injuries too, especially in the secondary.
Right.
Anthony Jennings, pretty good player on defense. Can rush the passer a little bit. They signed they claimed Yannick Ngakoue off waivers the other day. They traded Josh Uche, so they don't have a lot of juice in the pass rush either. I think they get Dietrich Wise back as an okay pass rusher.
But before we completely, I know the shows were on to New England, but before we move on completely,
can we talk about Arizona?
Yeah, we'll have to let's hit this and we'll recap what happened.
Piss off, you grassy little wanker!
Shut up, you soppy wanker!
Wanker!
You're a wanker!
Wanker!
Stop being a wanker.
You are a wanker, Andy Marr. And I'll be honest, I didn't know that was coming, but I'll say it again, you are a wanker.
This is Chris Watts's Wanker of the Week.
So Chris Watts is not with us, but I felt weird if we did not pay homage to him this week and talk about what the hell happened in Arizona. I mean, we talked about it last week.
Was I the only one that picked the Cardinals to win that game? I think out of us.
I don't remember.
Did you too?
I think I picked them. I know I picked them on my other show
the Cardinals
because we pick against the spread on my other show, and I definitely picked them against the spread, and they just won outright. It seemed like after the Washington debacle, it took them a long time to really turn the page into Arizona. Eberflus has his 24-hour rule. It seemed like it didn't happen, as you heard the guys going on radio stations and podcasts, etc., and really speaking their minds, which I don't mind. I mean, these guys are professionals, and a lot of them move into that profession after they retire of radio or podcasts or whatever. So I don't mind them speaking their mind about it, but it took them longer to turn the page from Washington. And then last week, this team quit, dude. Right there before halftime when they bust off that big run with DeMarcado. And it may have happened before that when they had the crazy penalty on Javon Dexter for the field goal. It seemed like that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I don't want to blame the refs, but the DBs were all over our wide receivers in the end zone before that. I mean, Keenan Allen's getting held down going up for a touchdown pass that flies off his fingertips. There's no call on that. And then they hit us with the field goal thing and no call on that, or they do call that. And then I just, it seems like they just quit after that. And the defense, on top of all that, and I talked to my man KB afterwards because I saw Billings pointing at his shoulder, and it's weird to say, I hope that's a shoulder, because I was like, if it's a pec, he's out for the year, and then it came out this week that he had a pec injury, which really, I mean, our rush defense was already hurting, and now without Big Bill, the juggernaut, Big Cuz, as we like to call him here on BFTG, without him in the middle anchoring that down, I don't know where you go. I don't know if Zach Pickens is healthy. He's been hurt all year. He's the guy they drafted to try and plug into that spot. But I think that really hurts. But the wanker of the week for me, it's Eberflus. I did, Tooch. I didn't like him last year. I wanted to bring in an offensive mind to tie in with your number 1 overall pick and grow them together. And it just makes it even worse when I keep hearing rumors that Ben Johnson wanted to be here. And
he doesn't have Trace Armstrong as his agent, though.
That is the shadow GM of the Chicago Bears.
Yep. Yeah, if you have
and then Adam Rank put out this week that he heard that it may be a 5-year deal instead of a 4-year deal, so he's here no matter what. And that's just a loser mentality. If the guy can't get it done, and you obviously see
that reporting by Rank for a 5-year deal makes complete sense.
I mean, he's not just going to put it out there for nothing, but you can't be cheap, man. You own a $6 billion business. Wouldn't you want to grow that? Which is also, but the Bears make no sense anyway. They've already bought the place in Arlington Heights, and now they want to fight with Chicago about where the stadium's going to be after already owning the place where you're going to put it, because you didn't like what they said you had to pay in taxes. Like they act like they're running a mom and pop shop and not a NFL franchise, and it drives me nuts. But to keep Eberflus was a mistake, and it continues to show its face this year. And now we're to the point where we're seeing Caleb Williams doing things already in his young career that are going to hopefully not hinder him going forward. I mean, he's overthrowing, he's missing guys. I think he has the smallest, he has like the worst passer rating on passes over 20 yards.
Yep.
He has no time back there, so he's running for his life already, and he's not Justin Fields, so he can't run for 50 yards if there's a guy in his face. And they didn't. I guess I could go with Ryan Poles on this and say you didn't build a good enough roster, but I think it comes down to Eberflus, because I really do think there's talent here. I think there's an untapped potential here, but when you say the same things over and over, it starts to fall on deaf ears. And when he came out after halftime, I know you haven't pulled it, but when they asked him, what'd you say to your team at halftime? And he goes, well, I told him that that's the score and we have each other.
Yeah,
and
we got each other.
What the fuck are you talking about, dude? And shout out Don Bird. Your coach knows. I heard Greg Gabriel a couple weeks ago saying, yeah, if a head coach makes a mistake, you'll never hear him admit to it. Don Bird, your coach, comes out right away and says, the head coach let him down on this game. I made a bad call. I shouldn't have went for it on that 4th down. Now, Eberflus is finally saying it's on me, and he's saying we're fixing it in-house, but we're not seeing that on the field.
Another thing about Dan Campbell, on Tuesday when the election, 31 NFL teams gave their players the day off of practice. Dan Campbell is the only coach where the team practiced. He gave them the option. The team wanted to practice. They held the practice on election day. I mean,
I had to work on election day. They just let me leave early.
Yeah, I had to work too. So, but yeah, I mean, one team out of 32 knows, the target. And that's the Super Bowl, and I think the Lions have what it takes to get there. Lions and Chiefs look like the 2 best teams in the NFL right now.
I mean the Chiefs. It's hard to argue against them because they just keep winning.
Yeah.
In spite of the way their quarterback's playing this year, the defense is damn good. The Baltimore Ravens is a team to watch out for.
Yep.
Cincinnati Bengals are in my backyard. They are the most. We think we're unlucky. Their quarterback is putting up MVP numbers, and they can't win.
And they're
games.
still losing.
Yeah. They cannot win games.
That's the thing with the Ravens and Bengals, both a little suspect on defense. For me. Same with the Bills. Good offense, suspect defense.
I think the Lions is the one team, long as they stay healthy, knock wood, they stay healthy, they can go toe-to-toe with Kansas City, punch them in the mouth. And as Dan Campbell once said, get punched in the mouth and bite their kneecap on the way up. I mean, I'm sure this feels weird to Don Burr to tune into a Bears podcast and we're heaping praise on his Lions. And maybe the rest of the chat don't like it either. I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, it's hard to argue against it.
Bears fans aren't stupid.
Yeah.
We know good football when we see it.
Exactly.
So,
and when you look at our head coach, you're at a disadvantage coming off the bus. I love what Buka says here. If we lose today, Eberflus has got to be out. I don't understand.
That was a question I wrote down. If he loses at home to the Patriots, 2-7 Patriots, then do you fire him? Look, I mean, polls, and
I'd have fired him 2 weeks ago when he didn't have his guys ready in Washington. Oh, absolutely.
But you and I both wanted him gone after last season. Just if you're bringing in Caleb Williams, and I'll tell you what, if Drake May outplays Caleb Williams today, the conversation's going to be, why didn't we trade back and take one of these other guys? Why do we have to take Caleb Williams? I'm a Caleb Williams fan. I think he's a pretty darn good player. He does need an offensive line to be successful, though. I mean, which quarterback doesn't? But if you ask me,
is your wanker of the week?
My wanker's Eberflus too. Yeah, and my reason for Eberflus isn't just all of the other stuff that you talked about, but the main reason is that Caleb Williams was in the game that was out of reach at the end and almost got injured.
Absolutely.
To me, that's unforgivable.
Yeah, limped off. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing it from players that don't quit. DJ Moore played for an awful franchise before coming to Chicago, and he's walking off during mid-play and sitting on the bench. Yep. Like, dude, you've lost the locker room. I don't know what Ryan Poles has to see before he realizes it, but if he doesn't realize it, they'll both be gone, And Caesar's got a great point. I don't think he's out. Who do you think takes over Waldron?
It'll be someone like Hightower.
Thank you, my guy too. See, man, we're step for step.
Yep. And what's Thomas Brown calling plays?
Absolutely.
Eric Washington will still be calling the defense. Thomas Brown calling the offense.
I think Waldron needs to pack his shit with Eberflus. They can move in together.
Absolutely.
Somewhere else.
He wasn't the guy I wanted. I liked Clint Kubiak if we're just hiring an offensive coordinator. If we're hiring,
who I like.
I like Bobby Slowick or Ben Johnson. Yeah.
You already know. You already got me. We're step for step, Tooch. But yeah, I mean, Waldron has. I talked myself into it because I was like, okay, he did something with Geno Smith. He's going to use the tight. I thought he was going to use the tight end. They use it in Seattle, and then all of a sudden, Cole Kmet gets 1 target in 2 games. Like, what is? I don't understand it. It makes no rhyme or reason. They talk about the scripted plays, stacking plays. How many times have we seen in Chicago a play caller who doesn't stack plays? I heard him say it on 670 The Score.
The plays, the first 15 plays aren't scripted.
Yeah, right? I heard T. Jink. He was on 670 The Score, and he said it's something Jenkins, and he said that there's a play early where they were in bunch formation and they kind of confused the defense. I believe it was either the play where we hit Rome or the play where we just missed Keenan Allen, and they never go back into bunch formation. They just scrap that whole formation. Like, if it's working, work with it. Look, we just talked about Detroit. It's working, so they continue. They don't care if they've got Hall of Famers at wide receiver. They know they can line up, hit somebody, and run the ball. That's what they're going to do. And then just when you think, okay, let's nail down and blitz and do this and that, then they'll go over the top and hit Sam Laporta or Amon-Ra, who does nothing but break tackles. You know what I'm saying? I just how it's not. They make it way too difficult than it is. It doesn't make any sense.
Yep. Yeah. Leaving Caleb out there for me was unforgivable. It's just so stupid. Put Bajent in. Let's just, or Eberflus, he's getting reps. Dude, the game is on. If he gets injured, he's not getting reps for the rest of the season, buddy. It's just so stupid. Get him reps in practice, if the game's over. That was unforgivable.
JoJo Loco, you do sound crazy here. Wanker of the year is Caleb. You can't make a stinking play. What play is there to make, man? He doesn't have protection.
Yeah,
when he hits his guys, he hits Keenan Allen right in the hands. He drops the ball. Like, when has he ever done that? Keenan Allen's a guy who I've watched for years in San Diego / LA with the Chargers, making all the catches. For some reason, Shane Waldron thinks he's a deep ball guy. Like, he doesn't have Rome Odunze on the roster. Why isn't DJ Moore in the slot more often? It doesn't. There's no rhyme or reason. And as a rookie quarterback learning the offense, you're expected to just go out there and, as you say, make a stinking
he's running
play
for his life behind a patchwork offensive line. It's just
he doesn't overthrow everyone, JoJo. He does overthrow sometimes. But there's the play where he quote unquote overthrew Keenan Allen. If you watch the route, Keenan Allen slows down when he cuts outside. That's why he overthrew him.
He does.
He hit Rome Odunze right in the hands. Rome drops it. Like, it's not all on Caleb.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that are going wrong. I mean, like you watch guys like JT
Zilla's right
down, and he needs to get the ball out quicker. This is so. We're still screaming at the television, throw the damn ball,
dude. When I'm looking at my screen and I see Roshan, he's got the check downs. And we saw this in college. You know, he likes to play hero ball. He likes to hold on to the ball for the big play. Aaron Rodgers did that for years in Green Bay. Sometimes you just got to take, as Dan Bernstein said this week, you got to take the easy cheese, the free cheese. We'll pass to my man KB here. Hopefully I don't overthrow him. He's in the tailgate lot, but I'll let him tell you. So, my man KB, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, people? What's going on with you? Man, what y'all boys got going on, man? What we talking about?
We're just talking a little bit about, we went through our Wanker of the Week, which obviously was Eberflus, and we talked about how he's not doing what he needs to do. We got guys in the chat talking about Caleb overthrowing guys, and I know you've been on that too about Caleb's deep ball accuracy. But I mean, it's a little bit of everything, and I'm about to kick this dude out of the chat because he just says he hears nothing but excuses. I don't know if he wants Bajan to be the starter or what his plan is over there, but it is what it is. And JoJo Loco, 5158. Yeah.
Sounds like a burner. It sounds like a burner.
Hey,
we out here though.
At the tailgate.
Say, man, we at this harbor lot, man. I ain't over there in the south lot, man. I'm over here in the season ticket holder lot. Want to let y'all know, man, I got my chief sitting right there. My lieutenant sitting behind him.
Nice.
I can't get away from work. Y'all know how it is. But we out here having a good time, man. It seems real fun, man. The weather ain't tripping yet, man. It ain't started raining. Hopefully it don't rain. You know how it go. But man, I'm excited for this game, man. You know, to me it feels like I don't want to say the get right game, but this is the one that we need to get back on track on.
Hey, KB, when we went last year, we played the Raiders who were struggling and they ran all over them. I feel like that needs to be the game plan again today. And with the offensive line issues that we've got, but it looks like the crowd's ready to be back home.
Man, it's a tale as old as time, right? It's like I said before, you go forward, it's really hard to stop you from going from point A to point B. Now, when you start to go east and west instead of north and south, that you start to have problems, man. I think the easiest thing is the simplest thing. Run the ball today. Let DeAndre eat. Let Roshan eat. We shipped Khalil off, and we knew that was gonna happen. But you got to feed those two running backs that you got, man. And let Caleb build off of what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? That sets up your play action. That helps to open up the pass game so you can hit some of these quick routes that he seems to be really good at doing. As long as it's not a million screens behind the line of scrimmage. So, you gotta get them going, man. It's like I heard you say. Got to take the easy ones, man. You got to get these dump offs. You seen last week they showed plays where he had a running back out in the flats or sitting over the middle that he could have dumped the ball off to. But it's the hero ball that he plays.
Yeah.
Can't do that here. Can't do that here. So hopefully that's the focus for the day, man. Hopefully it's run the ball, play action, quick game, get the ball out of his hands. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, more the north and south offense, not this fancy shit that you should do if you're Kansas City. And we're not.
Yeah. Absolutely. I do want to say my man Crazy Ace is in the chat. I served with him in Korea. Happy Veterans Day to my man Ace, for sure.
Veterans Day.
Yeah, Veterans Day is tomorrow. So definitely, if you see a veteran, let them know you appreciate it. Definitely. But yeah, KB, I'm gonna put you back on mute because I can't hear much. Just let me know if you want to say something.
Loud up there, huh?
I mean, that's good though. At least Bears fans are still fired up. They're still going. You know, they support this. How many years have you tried to get into Wrigley and it's packed for a bad team? You know what I'm saying? Now, the White Sox, they let them know when they don't like that. But you know, Chicago shows up and shows out for their teams. I mean, the Bulls lead the league in attendance. Year in and year out.
A ton of Bears fans in Washington and in Arizona.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's it.
So we do support our team. As dysfunctional as the team is for most of my fandom, the time I've been a fan, it's been dysfunctional. Look, as far as JoJo Loco, if you watch some of these routes, you know, there's some of these receivers are all around within like a 5 to 10 yard area of each other. You know, that's not hard to shut down when you're just using a small area of the field. You know, we need to get some, you know, slants and crossers and, you know, vary it a little bit. Cole Kmet has been invisible for past few games, man.
Dude, I'm telling you.
He's a playmaker. You got to get our playmakers involved.
And I don't want JoJo to feel as though
we're picking on him. Yeah,
we're not picking on him.
You, but
you have every right to your opinion.
Yeah,
it's just that
there's some context.
Right. It's not. You know? It's not all on Caleb. Even like I told you guys, my father-in-law. We watched the first half of the Washington game together, and he was like, "What's up with this Caleb guy? He was supposed to be so great and make all these plays, and he's not being able to do it. You know, why is that?"
Well,
just watch. I said, just watch his pocket. And when you watch the pocket, it's breaking down. And that was against Washington, who doesn't have a great pass rush. You know, they traded us their best pass rusher, but they were still getting home with these secondary level guys. And that's offensive line, you know. And then you watch Jaden Daniels. He's got a clean pocket. They run the ball. They don't go away from the run. They've got 3 running backs that they trust there. And shout out to Chris Rodriguez, former Kentucky guy, who's getting some play with Brian Robinson now. But I mean, it's an everything thing. It's not just Caleb. It's the O-line. It's guys not getting open. It's dumb play calling. Why is Keenan Allen your deep ball threat? He shouldn't. He hasn't been that in 10 years, bro. He hasn't been that in 10 years.
Like, why isn't 15 running the deep route?
It doesn't make sense. And Jenkins was on 670 The Score talking about, Cole Kmet, he hasn't even seen him as a viable option in the passing game. They may have him running down the seam, but he's really just, they got a dagger coming in behind it. So he's just kind of a decoy. Or they got a lot of chip routes, which I guess good for you for trying to help your offensive line. But it's like he chips and then he's at the line of scrimmage. He's not going down the field at all. So Caleb, I would assume in his mind, is saying, well, I could probably run and get close to the same amount of yardage as what I would get out of dumping it off to Kmet here. And maybe he looks at it that way. I don't, because I'm tired of my quarterback getting hit, and we definitely can't afford to have him hurt. I mean, if he's hurt, I guess we have a good backup. I like Tyson Bagent, but
Bagent should have been out there at the end of the Cardinals game. There's no reason for Caleb Williams to have been in there.
Or if you got Caleb in there, just run the ball. There's no reason for him to be taking hits. And Eberflus tried to say, we're going to fight to the end for every chip. But you were down 20, man. Like, I turned the game off after the safety. I said it in the group chat on Twitter. I said, after the safety, I'm done. I switched it over to the Rams game where it was actually a competitive game going back and forth. You talk about a team that's overcome so much. The Rams lost Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp for a portion of the season. They lost both their offensive tackles. And they're right. I mean, their division's not as strong as ours, but
in the NFL.
That's what it comes down
to. This is what I wrote down in my notes, too. Let me just read from my notes here. In the NFL, coaching probably matters more than in any other sport. The Bears don't have the coaches in place to both develop a quarterback long-term and win the big game long-term. In the modern NFL, an offensive head coach is more important. Defensive coordinators are more prevalent than good offensive minds, but offensive success is more important in the modern era, and I'll tell you why. They say defenses might win championships, but offenses get you to the big game. Man, good offenses get you to the big game more often, and you still got to score points. A good offense is going to get there, and then put you over the top is having the good defense alongside of it. Bears always have a good defense. We never seem to have the offense.
I'm tired of feeling like every Sunday the defense has to score for us to be a viable option. I'm tired of that.
You see who's lurking backstage? One of my biggest fans.
Hey guys,
what's
how
going
are
on, Godfather? How you doing?
I thought I'd stop by and see how you guys are doing.
The Tooch and AC show.
Yeah, exactly.
We have some absences out of school today.
I noticed KV's at the game, and probably our guy across the pond is probably sleeping something off. So you guys have been covering stuff really well. I just wanted to add, I think Ho Loco, is making some good points in the chat. And, right now what this team is going through is everything is defective. The offensive line, the running game, the quarterback has certainly been inaccurate, and he's still gaining experience. And certainly the coaching staff is very defective. I don't think that there's good communication going on between Dennis Morgan, who is the running game coordinator, and the offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, in calling plays. And that's led to this inconsistent style running game. And I think that the defense is also a little bit defective. You've got the head coach calling the plays and the defensive coordinator. Yeah. And so it's a little bit of everything that's making this team so frustrating for all of us Bears fans who had high expectations. And this team should not have the record that it has, 4-4. It should be 6-2 or something like that. So, I'm on board that this is a critical game. You don't want to
must win.
Yeah, you don't want to go play Green Bay after 3 straight losses, because the season really is over if we lose today, in my opinion. It's just over.
Yeah.
We can't expect with this schedule, and I think we got it loaded here. With this, actually, we don't. With this schedule, there's just too many tough games ahead. And you've got 3 home games coming up, you got to beat the bad teams. And so, but I am a little concerned about today because of all the dysfunction that's been going on within the organization, within the team, with players questioning coaches, with the injuries to the offensive line. This is like a tailor-made for the New England Patriots to steal one on the road, man.
Yeah, we do have the schedule here.
There it is.
Look at that. It's like shining.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
So, yeah.
So you got Patriots, Packers, and Vikings.
You get 3 home games.
It's the last winnable game, in my opinion. The last, guarantee, most winnable game remaining.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Every other game, we're going to be the underdog. There's just no doubt about it.
Yep. Maybe Seattle, but depending on how.
Yeah, I was going to say I haven't figured Seattle out yet. But San Francisco,
we'll be at home.
McCaffrey coming back now. It's not that's difficult.
Yep.
Well, you just know that with the Bears, Seattle's going to hang 35 points on Shane Waldron. It's a revenge game for Seattle, and it's just the Bears' luck that they're just going to score a lot of points against their ex-offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is daunting. It really is.
Yeah.
I think the next 4 games are big, especially if you are in the camp of should Eberflus be let go, because that fourth, you've got Patriots winnable game, then you've got Packers, always the test. That's the one Virginia gets pissed off about. Then you got Vikings, who have been dropping down a little, but I mean, you got to worry. I worry about Flores and what he's going to do with Caleb's brain in that game. And then you got Thanksgiving, a short week against the Lions. That gives you, if you do want to move on from your head coach, that gives you a 10-day window to move in to Hightower or whomever. Yeah, I think Waldron needs to go as well. His play calling just doesn't make sense to me, Aldo.
Yeah,
and I've seen it here since Nagy's didn't stack plays. Even it's over and over and over again. And it's driving me nuts. I think Dan Orlovsky came out with it this week where he really broke down. They drafted Mitch Trubisky with 1 year of John Fox, then fire him and bring in Nagy. Then they draft Justin Fields. He gets 1 year with Nagy, then he's fired, and they bring in Flus. Now we're doing the same thing. How do you continue to do the same issue over and over? Aldo, you've got kids. If your kid puts his hand on a hot skillet, they're not going to do that 3 more times in a row. It doesn't make any sense. It's like the McCaskies are walking around with the hot pot on their head. It just how does this happen?
Well, and that's why I think the Bears, if they lose today, they should really seriously consider firing Matt Eberflus, because this narrative that they've hoisted on the league that we don't fire coaches in season, maybe that narrative has to change. Maybe that will bring greater urgency with the next head coach. Hey, they fired Eberflus in week 11, so I got to make sure that we're progressing every week. There's this kind of lackadaisical. George Halas never ran a Chicago Bears team the way the McCaskies are running it. It just, he would, and Mike Ditka famously took Ricky Watts's uniform, shoulder pads, everything in his locker, and threw it out the door and said, "You're off the team," because he was not giving 100%. Don't you remember that with the whole Ricky Watts thing? Yep. And so that's what this team needs. They need some discipline. They need self-discipline. And, the leadership council thing was a great idea, but they failed to tell the leadership council, hey, don't tell the media everything that's going on here. And so now they've started revealing stuff to the media that should never be exposed to the public. And that's showing the dysfunction within the team. So Eberflus, he might be a great tactician of defenses, and where a position to body and this block and this tackle and stuff like that. But he's not a really good leader. He's just borrowing phrases that he's heard and leading that way. And I think the players are starting to see through that. And again, this game is critical, because if they don't come out ready in the first quarter and score some points and hold this Patriots offense, which is pathetic. I had dinner last night with Andrew Callahan, who covers the Patriots, and he was talking about the dysfunction that's going on within the New England Patriots. Yeah. So you would think from our side, this is an easy win. I mean, what are the odds, Tooch? Is the Bears still favored by 6?
6.5. Yep.
6.5.
With a low total, so it's kind of a perplexing line that Vegas put out. Neither team is good, to be honest with you. They're looking at the 32nd ranked offense versus the 28th ranked offense. So I can understand it being a low scoring game, but as far as defenses, the Bears gave up 213 yards rushing last week. I mean, I said on last week's tailgate, the Bears better come prepared to run the ball, because the Cardinals can run the ball. And they did not stop the run, and we lost. Right. So losing Andrew Billings is not going to help with our run defense. The Patriots can run the ball. They're 14th overall as yards per rush. And then the Bears defense was, they were great at stopping the pass. The other team doesn't pass as well as they run, and they're basically a mirror image of us. They've got a rookie that runs around that plays a hero ball as well. He dropped a nice pass in last week, scrambling around to win the game against the Titans. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that last play at the end of losing that game. Oh, did they? I thought they won that one on that play. Did the Patriots went loose?
They lost.
They lost. Okay.
In overtime, yeah.
In overtime, okay, to tie the game.
My friend that I watch ball games with almost every Sunday, he's a huge Patriots fan. He loves Boston. He roots for the Red Sox, the Patriots, all the Boston teams. And I'm watching the game with him today, and they fight in every single game. Gerard Mayo came out and said, this team is soft, and they rebounded and smacked Aaron Rodgers in the mouth the next week and beat him. You know, this is a team that I told you, Tooch, last week, this team quit on Eberflus. I have not seen that out of this Patriots team. They go out there, they know they're at a disadvantage talent-wise, but they will not quit. They do not quit. Christian
they're
Gonzalez,
just as injured as us.
Corner,
That's an advantage, too. They're just as injured.
Yeah.
They do have a lot of injuries, but I really like their corner and Christian Gonzalez, which they'll probably – have mirror DJ a lot today. Go in and he goes in and out. They drafted him high. That was Belichick's last draft pick, I think, last first round pick, and he's really good.
Can we talk about DJ a little bit? Because when asked if the coach Eberflus had lost the locker room, he said, "I want to say no." Come on. I mean, this is why Bears fans are feeling so much apathy, malaise, worry, stress, because we know we're in the same situation we've been in with the past 2 or 3 coaching regimes where we have a lame duck coach. We just drafted a quarterback. We needed an offensive mind. It's like the Bears drafted offensive mind and Nagy. Then they're like, ooh, that didn't work out. We need to go back to what we know best, which is hiring a defensive mind. And I love the way that Eberflus has built the defense, but to be honest, he's demonstrated a clear tendency towards collapsing in the second half of games.
Yeah,
it's
he's
just
not a good in-game coach.
It's not a good in-game. Not a good game manager as far as
I was listening to DJ's interview live. That was on 670 Score with Mully and Hall. He goes on there every Monday at 8. And reading it sounded a lot worse than when I actually heard it, because he kind of was like, well, I want to say no. You know, we went back out there. We knew we had to score this and that. He elaborated on it, but you know, they're going to pull that clip and say, look what DJ said. How does he not say absolutely no chance, no way? And maybe he shouldn't, but that's just the way DJ is. We even saw him at the podium this week when he was talking
DJ is more untouchable than Eberflus with the contract.
He's chill, man. That's just the way. You never hear him.
I know. I'm just saying he has a massive contract now.
Yeah.
I mean,
he deserves every dime of it.
If anyone's going before the other, it's Eberflus going before. I don't care how big his house is on Lake Michigan, you know. But like, this is what we were trying to get to before. I know AC was trying to get to this point that Ryan Poles has a tendency to feel sorry for the people that work underneath him, as far as getting rid of them, letting them go, and I don't think that mixes well with the business of the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, it is a little weird. The Khalil Herbert trade, 7th round pick, you know, you're doing it really because Khalil wanted out. I would not at all be surprised if Swift or Roshan gets injured this week, and then we're all going to be saying tomorrow morning or right after the game, we should not have traded him. We should not have traded him. That's, you know, to me, it poses I like general managers and coaches who have good connections with players, but it's always got to be the organization first. And so when you trade a guy like Khalil Herbert, you're not putting the organization first. You're putting the player first. And that doesn't go very far. I mean, look at the dysfunction that's going on within the team now. I'm sure a lot of those players in the locker room are not happy that Khalil is gone.
We traded up to get Justin Fields, right?
Yeah. Right.
And then we let him go for peanuts. Because the player wanted to do right by the player, and that's all well and good, but it doesn't help you win ball games in the long run.
Yeah, we need some more tough ass people. And then there's this whole rumor going
Jerry
around.
Burns, Aldo.
Yeah, I think Jerry Burns. Right. There's this whole rumor going around now that people are pointing fingers at Kevin Warren. It's Kevin Warren. He's starting to interfere with football operations. I'm like, really? Because if he's fooling around with football operations, then he's not really doing anything different than what's been done before. We're still losing. We're still losing.
I don't know. I think Kevin Warren. I feel like Office Space. What is it that you do here? You brought this guy in to move the franchise to Arlington Heights, to the place you already owned, and all he's done since he got here is bitch, moan, and complain about how he wanted to be downtown Chicago, where it's not going to work without tax dollars, but we still owe from a 20-year-old fix at Soldier Field. It's not happening, dude. I don't care. All you're doing is trying to politic and get smaller, a better tax break, this and that. It's not going to happen. You were brought here to build Wrigleyville. I don't know what direction Arlington Heights is Aldo, but
northwest. Yep.
Wrigleyville North. Just build it, man. If you build it, they will come. You build the stadium. You put a sports book around it. You put a bar and grill around it, and you're going to make stupid amounts of money. And in the offseason, you can bring Taylor Swift in there and make even more freaking money. It just doesn't make sense, and I don't know what this guy does here. All he's done since he got here is I know one thing. He wakes up at 4:30 every morning without an alarm clock. Shout out to you. I can't do that.
Sounds like
I go to bed at 4:30 in the morning.
Well, I'll wake up at 4:30, but I got no alarm. I guarantee you that.
He's brought here to get the stadium done. That's my understanding, right?
Yeah, but he's also been giving the responsibilities of football operations, which is more than what Ted Phillips initially had. And so – and, every time he's talked about the Vikings and the Cardinals, he talks about we did this, we did that. And he's kind of presenting himself as somebody who was involved in football operations with those two organizations, when in reality, he wasn't. He was part of the business and legal affairs of those teams. And so he's trying to expand his role. I wouldn't at all be surprised if he's angling to be the next commissioner of the NFL. It comes with a nice $30 million a year salary plus. And so he's probably positioning himself to be the heir apparent for the commissionership, but he's not doing anything visible to us Bears fans that is helping the team in any way. Like AC just said, we're regressing in terms of having the new stadium. There should have been shovels in the ground already in Arlington Heights. Pay the freaking taxes and let's get this thing going. You know that you're not going to get any cooperation from the city of Chicago and all the NGO groups who are worried about the environmental hazards to the lakefront. That's not going to happen. So get to work on something that you've already purchased and start developing it.
And it doesn't help your franchise if you stay downtown. Like I said, in the off season, when you want to bring the Big Ten championship up through there, or if you want to bring in concerts, or if you want to, Soldier Field has those, but the Bears don't see a dime of it. And I don't understand how George McCaskey can't see that. I mean, he's owned this franchise for, his family's owned this franchise forever, and he's not seeing a dime of it. I would be pissed if I was – you talk about something that should be pissing off Virginia McCaskey. It's that right there. I'd be pissed if I owned it and was like, I'm not seeing a dime out of any of this. That's ridiculous.
The Bears are – if they're going to stay in Soldier Field or whatever, they're beholden to the Park District. Park District has all the concession rights.
Yes,
they're not making money in concessions. So the smart thing is to remove themselves from the Chicago grip, so to speak. And Arlington Heights provides a great spot. It's just the Cook County Tax Board has been a thorn in their side, as far as like it won't budge an inch. Although you're closer to the situation than me, and I haven't been studied up on the stadium situation because there's a season going on, and I mean this is a must-win game. And
that's another thing. You've got all this going on in the background.
Yeah. Well, and AC mentioned what Orlovsky has said and other commentators have said about the Bears being out of sync in terms of the coach and quarterback. A head coach should be coming in with your first-round draft pick quarterback and marry those guys for the next 15 years. Well, the same thing has happened now with the stadium thing. You had Ted Phillips. He was the one that ran the deal to buy the Arlington Park racetrack for $159 million or $190 million, whatever it was. And now he leaves and you bring in a new guy and he's like not focused on Arlington Heights that you've already paid for, and he wants to do it in Chicago. Again, the Bears organization not being synchronized in what they're doing. It goes back to Mike Martz having Greg Olson. Lovie Smith brings in an offensive coordinator who doesn't want to use a pass catching tight end. He's traded away. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. It's over and over and over again. This Bears organization just doesn't know how to do it right. It's like, we're going to build a house. Let's start by building the roof first.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. No, we need a foundation.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. I'm
like
getting
that C on your hat stands for can't get right, Aldo.
There you go. I should write that right there.
Seattle was famous for using 2 tight ends. We can't get Cole Kmet involved in one tight end.
How about that? Yeah, I heard AC talking earlier before I hopped on about the whole the mystery of Cole Kmet. 2 games, the last 2 games, he's got 1 target. Last game, 0 targets, and so this is another offensive coordinator mistake where he's got to have a half dozen to a dozen plays that are tailored for Cole Kmet. And he's got to have that communication with the quarterback. Cole is open underneath. Don't try to force it. We need first downs right now. Don't try to force, even if you see Keenan one-on-one, don't try to force it. If you got Cole open underneath, let's move the chains. Let's ball control. Let's keep our defense off the field. But no, they're treating Caleb like it's a crash course on how to quarterback. You don't have to do that with this kid. Let's take it easy. Let's let him build up with experience. Let's let him work on the small things, because that's the most disappointing thing about him. It's very much like what happened with Justin Fields. Justin Fields was not known as a running quarterback at Ohio State. He was known as a pocket passer who threw the ball accurately. He comes to the Chicago Bears, and now all of a sudden those traits have disappeared. Now he becomes a running quarterback because he can't pass accurately. That's got to be on the coaching staff, and we're seeing the same thing with Caleb.
We got we asked Bertolissimo to come. We didn't know you were going to stop by, Aldo. Can we?
Well, I gladly step aside for Bertolissimo and listen in.
Do you have to leave, or can you stick around?
I can stick around, sure.
All right.
Bertolissimo.
He's in here.
Ciao, Bella. I hope you're all good. I've got something to say on the tight end and also the stadium. So tight ends, we really are missing the trick with Waldron, because what we saw last week with Arizona was overload blitzes, which we're going to see from the Vikings and we're going to see from the Packers, and we're probably going to see straight up front rushing from Detroit. Now, what we also saw from Arizona, which really made Caleb struggle a little bit more, was Waldron was not adjusting to the fact that they were running disguised late switch coverages, which means it might look like zone as you run a motion man across, but it turns into match, which is a variation of man. It might look like one high, but then they run a corner into a cover 2 hole and run a linebacker into the flat that's showing a blitz over that side to try and rob that flat. One of the ways you get around this as an offensive coordinator is delayed releases. So you keep your halfback in, you keep your tight Cole Kmet into pass blocks, and then they have what's called a delayed release based upon what they're seeing, because don't forget the snap will have already happened, and those guys can see what's happening, and then they can either run in their man, so they know they've got a man matchup, so you got a man route, or you get a delayed release zone route, so a zone beater. And that gives Caleb at least 5 to 6 yards underneath on every single pass play, which is there as like a late option. Or if we don't get a disguised coverage, he just reads his linebacker, he reads his safety, reads his key side linebacker, and then he goes off the back of that. So Waldron really is missing the trick, because last week I saw it all the time with Eberflus. I saw it, not Eberflus, saw it all the time with Voldemort stroke Nagy. Because I hate that man as much as Voldemort. With a passion, I tell you. And we saw it as well with Luke, I can't hold down a job, Getsy. It was linear routes. So everything's linear. Everything's like a 15-yard hook, an 8-yard hook, a 10-yard hook, which is fine if you're in man coverage. But we're not. We're facing a shit ton of zone, because teams know that we can't pass block up front. If they run zone, they can squeeze the field, and we're not running zone beaters. And that's the problem. If you get your crosses, I've been saying it for years. The thing with Eberflus, sorry, I'm just ranting on there. The thing with Eberflus, I said it. I don't know how many times. As soon as we got rid of Nagy, I said, you draft a QB after you get rid of the coach and you get your new coach in. You don't do it in the third year of that coach. Last year, I'm glad we've got Caleb. Caleb is a good quarterback. He could be a fantastic one. But it really was a missed opportunity.
Yep.
If you're going to keep Eberflus last year, you should have traded the pick. You should have taken the choice of one of the other quarterbacks you could have had after Caleb, and you should have fixed the offensive line, because the offensive line has been an issue for at least 4 years now. Cody Whitehair was in decline. Then we got Lucas Patrick, who was like, was he an upgrade over Mustafa? I don't know. He didn't appear to be much of one. And then now you've got Nate Davis. Polls have shown time and time again he wouldn't know a good offensive line if he came up and punched him like Olin Kreutz would.
Yep.
Yeah.
He just doesn't seem to get it. And the one that he has drafted, which is Darnell Wright, who I do think is a good offensive lineman, we're kind of ruining him, playing him hurt all the time with no help. He's got no help inside because the guards are changing every single week. And he's got no help outside because he doesn't have a consistent tight end there. It's crass.
Bellissimo, I'd like to ask you a question. Given, that this offensive line they're going to trot out there today against the Patriots is probably the worst offensive line that we have seen in years, just simply because we've got 2 backup tackles, and the third tackle is out for the game. So we're talking about the 4th and 5th tackle. So do you anticipate that Cole Kmet is going to stay in to block and not go out on many pass patterns? Or how do you anticipate that the Bears are going to react to the fact that their offensive line is injured?
I would anticipate a good coach running 12 personnel on most plays. A good coach.
Yep.
Do I anticipate us running 12 personnel? No. I anticipate us doing shit in the bed. It's like last week. You've got a patchwork offensive line. What do you not do with a patchwork offensive line? You don't get them running traps, and you don't.
We might have lost him there.
I think he was cutting off.
I think he was saying we got out coached last week.
I think he was. Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. I do want to hop in and say a lot of the things he was mentioning about Arizona's defense, about how we were running. You would bring a guy across formation and you see if you're in man or zone. They did that same thing in Washington. They were bringing that. So it's 2 weeks in a row now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah, I just did it because I'm out in the car with my son. What I said was like you don't get running.
Right, Barlissimo, the Patriots play a little bit more man than we've seen, if I'm not mistaken. They're not as much
coverage. Yeah, they are, because they've got good man cover corners, but they also will run pressure. But when you've got a team that's not as strong across the board, you tend to it's going to be consistent. But I anticipate we're going to see them running switch coverages. We're definitely going to see it next week with the Packers, because that's how their safety that we could have had a go at this last off season. McKinney, that's how he's got so many interceptions, because he comes down close to the line of scrimmage and he bails into a robber position, and that's how he's got as many interceptions. We're going to see this type of coverage, I think, a lot more. Even teams that don't necessarily play it that much are going to see how much difficulty we have with it up front and on the back end, because we have nose pass blocking up front. The problem is we've got to have some quick options, and we're not giving Caleb that. We're not giving him quick answers. And the run game, like I said, when you've got a patchwork offensive line, just keep it simple. Whoever your 2 best blockers are, which surprise is Matt Pryor and Darnell Wright, run behind them. And then when they start stopping us, running behind them, then you make a counter or you make a play action off that side until they stop that. You got to keep it simple for you guys, especially with offensive line. The more you have moving parts with moving people, as in, we haven't got the same lineup each week, and we change it 4 times in the game. Probably not the best time to run your counters and your options and stuff like that. It's probably better to run it get a fullback in the backfield. We haven't got one of those, but we can put Doug Kramer there, the Duggernaut. Get Doug Kramer into the A gap. Get the Roshan behind him, and let's go for 4 yards in a cloud of dust, because that's better than 7 yards backwards. It's better than getting the pressure on Caleb all the time. Can't have him dropping back 40 times today.
Yeah.
I don't want to see 40 to 50 passes today. I just don't want to see it. That takes commitment and will.
The Patriots can't stop the run either. That's the good news. They're 26 against the run. The yards per play, they're giving up almost 6 yards per play, 4.5 yards per run. So I mean, I totally agree with that. You have to run the ball and make the Patriots
Dude,
stop the run.
You're cutting out real bad. I have no idea what you said.
He's got
I said, if ever there's a team to get right against, it's the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, Barlissimo, we're almost out of time because Tooch has got to run and help people get their fantasy lineup set up before
I'm not on today. I've got some other personal stuff to attend
Okay, Goon has to help people
Goon
get
will
their
be
fantasy lineup
Steven
set up.
Zimmerman will be sitting in for me today.
Oh, cool.
So before we go, Barlissimo, if you could give me your score prediction, a bowl prediction, and your MVB, your most valuable Bear today, and then we'll let you go. Can you hear me?
Oh, it's gone.
We lost him.
No.
You dropped.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Aldo, you want to start us off with that, and then and we can try and close this thing out.
Yeah, I do think that the Chicago Bears are going to lose today. I hate to say that. I always pride myself on never give up, never give up, never give up. And I haven't given up on this team, but to look at it, objectively, I think because of the injuries on the offensive line, because of the stubbornness of the coaching staff, as Barlissimo has pointed out, I do believe that the Patriots are going to come in here and win a game. They finished strong last week. I think they're going to, even though they lost the game, I think they're going to carry some momentum here. And right now, while both organizations are not healthy by any means, and I mean that physically and intellectually in what they're doing, I do think right now it's the Bears who are suffering more. And so if they don't get off to a fast start, the crowd is going to turn on the Bears. There's going to be a lot of boos, and our rookie quarterback might get rattled by hearing that. So I just got a really bad feeling about this game, and that, the silver lining could be that it might
with the Bears. What?
Yeah, right. Surprise! The silver lining might be that it.
What am I hearing?
Yeah, it might expedite the removal of Matt Eberflus. So, bold prediction, is that what's next? Bold prediction is I will predict that Kyler Gordon comes back and has a sensational game today. Interception, sack, and half a dozen tackles. I think he's such a valuable player to this defense. So he's going to come back and have a good game. And then is there one other thing that I need to do?
If you want to hit, so we usually do score prediction, a bowl prediction, your MVB, which you kind of did with your bowl prediction there.
Yeah.
And if you want to hit any shout outs, to the chat.
You got a score prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to say 2016 Patriots, and I think that one of their touchdowns is going to come off a turnover on the offense, the Bears offense. And just as a shout out, I want to shout out you guys. Every Sunday you come on and you bring it to our audience. You get the Bears fans fired up. You provide great analysis. Your passion for the Bears is second to none. I really, really am proud to be associated with you guys here in the Barroom Network. You guys are wonderful. And all I got to do is set that alarm clock, and I'd be watching a little bit more frequently. But Saturday nights can be rough nights for Aldo. Hey, Barlissimo's back, so let's see if we can get his predictions.
Yeah.
There he is.
I would love to be the bearer of good news. However, I suspect it's going to be more of the same sort of bad. I don't know if I can rotate my camera. Will it actually rotate for you guys yet? Well,
there you go.
So I suspect, like you do, Aldo, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I suspect we're going to be looking to control the clock a little bit more. Sorry, I can't even figure out where my camera is. There it is. I suspect probably 24-16, something like that. And I think it might be the Patriots are getting 24. And I think one of those is going to be some sort of drop pass or a bad snap or something.
We lost him again. We tried.
So he's got Bears going down as well. Tooch, if you want to hit yours, and then I'll finish this out.
Yep. Shout out to all the veterans for Veterans Day tomorrow. Thank you for your service. To you guys, Aldo, for making all this possible and giving us a platform to talk about our favorite team, as painful as it is sometimes. Look, I wish I think the Bears pull this one out. It feels like a game that the Bears will win in spite of themselves, in spite of Eberflus. We back into a victory. I'm gonna say Bears 20, Patriots 17, but it wouldn't surprise me if by halftime the score is something like 6-3. With nothing going on.
Wow.
Just neither team can do much past midfield. I like the under in this game a lot because you're talking about the 28th ranked offense in the Bears and 32nd ranked offense in the Patriots, and they both have okay defenses, but there's so many injuries on here. It's really hard for me to make a final prediction. I'm out on Eberflus. I wanted him gone last year if we were taking a quarterback. Like I said, you need an offensive coach, I think, in this modern era of the NFL. You have to score points. It doesn't matter how good your defense is if you don't score points. That's my thoughts in a nutshell. As far as like we draft like one of the best scramble throw quarterbacks in the history of college football, and it looks like the guys aren't practicing the scramble drill and not coming back for the ball. They're running off the field and sitting on the bench before the play's over.
Or pushing off on a defender.
Yeah, it boggles my mind. I don't think the offensive players are on the same page with the offensive coordinator. I mean, they might not be running the right routes, or they're not. Sometimes it looks like they're not in the place where Caleb expects them to be. I don't know whether that's on the quarterback or on the receivers. It's kind of the same thing we saw last year, although where a bunch of receivers are grouped into about a 5 to 10 yard area, and that makes it easy for the defense to defend the pass play. So look. If Drake May outplays Caleb Williams, there's going to be a lot of negative talk on Monday.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll tell you right now, Drake May ran for 95 yards last week.
Yeah.
We have to stop his scrambling. He'll make plays. I mean, I could see him extending some drives on us.
Yep.
So you have to cover the tight end. We haven't been great at covering the tight end. They have a good one in Hunter Henry.
Yep.
So that's something the linebackers have to come ready to defend the run and the pass. I mean, we have to stop the run. We haven't stopped the run the past 2 weeks. So 20-17, I'll say Bears. I think we luck into a victory here. We're going to head,
right.
But I don't see us winning many after that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, a 6-11, 7-10 season for Eberflus after this. My player of the game, I'll pick DeAndre Swift. He's been good. We got to get him going. He's averaging about 9 yards per catch. So if you can get him involved in some slip screens and get like Berlusmo said, get Cole Kmet off on a delay. So I think we have to do that. And as banged up as we are in the secondary, we have to still come to play both the run and the pass today. I know it sounds stupid, but that's how I feel.
No, I mean,
stupid at all.
it sounds awfully Eberflusy,
Right.
Type into Chat GPT, generic head coach speak, and whatever it prints out, that's what you go with, just like Eberflus. But I feel like I'm right there with you, Tooch. I look at this injury report and it kills me. Like you said, Aldo, you're down to the offensive tackle 4 and 5. I mean, with your top 3 out. On the defensive side, we lose Billings for the year, which is a huge loss. We already couldn't stop the run, and now you add that to it. Montez Sweat's back. That's good. We get Gordon back. That's good. My guy Brisker, man, I'm starting to worry about him as in the future. You got to think about your life after football, young man. This is Dan
Aguirre texted me, said he didn't think he'd play another game.
Yeah,
it's very possible. I mean, and and this is not a guy that I hate. I have his jersey, so I love me some Brisker, but man, you gotta think about your life after football with this. We missed the chance to put him on IR and save us a roster spot at this point because he's been gone for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. But yeah, that really sucks. But our pass defense, I am happy with. I think we do well today. Kayshon Boutte, they've got out there in New England. He's a guy that I took early in a dynasty league that I've held on to because I liked him at LSU. He's finally hitting a little bit, and maybe that is from Drake May learning with him on the practice squad and coming up and stuff. But so watch out for him. But I think
Pop Douglas is a good receiver too.
Yeah, and I think but I think our secondary is good for that.
Yep.
I do think Bears win this game. I think it's a close game. I think it's give me Bears 24-20. I think they win this ball game. They find a way to win. A lot of screen passes, a lot of underneath stuff. Have guys break tackles and don't hang on to the ball too long, Caleb. Get it out of your hands. So you got to be smarter. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So my MVP will be Montez Sweat. I think he has a good day against New England Patriots offensive line, which is also banged up and wasn't very good to start with, just like us. We're dealing with the same issues. I think he gets a hold of Drake May, and he has that welcome to the NFL moment this week when you got a big dude like that coming down on you. So that's what I've got. Shout outs first and foremost, Aldo. Shout out to you, man. You gave me a chance here, and I've taken it, and I feel like I've ran with it. I hope I've done you proud.
You have. Absolutely.
I love coming on here every Sunday. My man Tooch has been an excellent addition to the Barfly Tailgate Show. He comes with stats, and we talk fantasy, and we talk about other NFL
college
teams.
Football, which is much
college football. The chat loves when we talk college football, Aldo. But and we have a great time. Of course, Chris, we missed you today. We'll definitely have you back next week. And our man KB gets a little bit of time off, gets to go to the ball game. It really sucks that his cousin is injured at this point, but maybe he'll hang out with him after the game, grab some pizza. Shout out. I would give you go to Aurelio's in Homewood. That's my favorite spot in Chicago every time we go. It's my favorite pizza.
Very nice.
But but definitely shout out to the chat. Don Burr, you come in here week in and week out. Jojo Loco. Even though we disagreed a little bit at the start, you definitely made some good points.
I mean, the chat room's understandably frustrated with the growing pains of a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
What can you do about it? I still like what I've seen from the kid. I think he's got talent.
Yeah, I just hope we don't ruin him in his first year and he starts seeing ghosts and things of that sort, like we thought we may have saw with Sam Darnold. But he's turned it around too. It's not the end of your rookie contract is not the end of your career, but
coaching is the most important thing in the NFL. Like I said earlier in this show, it's the difference between a consistent winning team in the NFL. When you look back on coaches like Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick, they were there for a long time because they won ball games, and they knew how to manage a game. They knew how to put the right coaches in place, and they knew how to get the most out of the talent on the roster. I mean, if you don't have, look, you have Bears fans calling, we should trade for Sean McVay, and I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. But the Rams aren't letting him go. He's one of the best coaches in the NFL. Yeah. Would I love him here? Sure. But we need to find the next Sean McVay.
Hey, Matt LaFleur's little brother's out there in LA with him now. Maybe you get the LaFleur brothers over in the NFC North. I don't know.
We missed a lot of good coaches in the offseason. I think that's what's frustrating for people like Aldo and myself who've been Bears fans for a long time. There was a talk of Ben Johnson wanting the Bears job.
I feel like
Harbaugh was out there. I mean, there was a perfect
I wanted Harbaugh.
Perfect chance to step in with Caleb Williams and launch the new era, and we held on to the old era.
I know Greg doesn't like Harbaugh, but I love me some Harbaugh. I wanted him. I wanted him bad.
Harbaugh just needs a little ADD medicine. He's fine.
A steak and a glass of milk. But
that's it.
Yeah. I think Ben Johnson's still the answer. I think that's who we end up with in the offseason. If not, I mean, we can't get him earlier than that, but I think that's who we end up with this offseason is Ben Johnson comes in. They fix that offensive line. Hell, I don't know. I haven't looked at their free agency. Do Lions have any offensive linemen free agents coming available? That'd be something to watch that he could bring with him because even their backups, I think, would start on our offensive line easily.
When an offense looks uncoordinated like it did with Luke Getsy and now with Shane Waldron, and Bears fans spot it. We're not dumb.
Yeah.
You know, we know when something's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what else I can say,
should
guys.
be a candidate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's still mad that he got passed up for the Sox job twice.
Yeah.
You know what was interesting is Adam Schefter this week, a few days ago, said that Ben Johnson's probably not going to be interested in the Bears job now because of the dysfunction that they're seeing within the team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? I think that's a kind of a premature opinion. Yeah, there has been some dysfunction. There's no doubt about that. Everybody in the NFL knows it and can see it pretty visibly, but things can get corrected pretty quickly. And I think that the way you go about correcting it is you got to fire Eberflus in mid-season. And let's not forget that prior to game one, Ryan Poles was being talked about as the executive of the year, the GM of the year, and so forth. That's not totally going to go away if they have a losing season this year. But he has to make it better by making some tough decisions and sending a message to the NFL that he's not a pushover and that he is going to get the job done. Fire Eberflus if he continues to lose, and then go about 2025 with a new direction and a new strong-willed, innovative head coach who's going to bring this offense finally into the 21st century.
Yep, totally agree, Aldo.
Absolutely, but stay tuned right here, and they'll fix your fantasy lineup for you. Coming up next,
my team has been destroyed by injury. I'm just like this season.
My team in the Barroom Network. I got Lamar Jackson carrying my team like those Louisville Cardinals. I mean, he's just throwing them on his back and just running with it.
He's been great.
But I know I'm playing against someone who had Jamar Chase. I feel like I've been burnt to a crisp.
Yeah, that's Adam Schaum. He's been riding Jamar Chase. I think he's got Burrow too.
My season was over Thursday night. I mean, my game was over. The game was over Thursday night. So.
I saw that. I was unbelievable.
Hung a 70 burger on me.
Oh my God!
Wow, absolutely wild. But until next week, like, comment, subscribe to the Barroom Network, and hit the little notification bell to tell you whenever we go live for all of our shows. I mean, we cover Blackhawks, we cover Bulls, we cover the White Sox. I'm trying to talk Aldo into letting me run a Cubs show next year, maybe. But we'll get it all figured out. Until next week, though, we'll just leave everybody with a bear down.
Bear down.
Bear down, baby!